Hey, it's Troy Ryerson, and today I am here with Alan Zeller. And many of you do not know who Alan is yet, I'm going to say, because Alan has become a very good friend of mine. On top of that, he was kind enough to put up with me and work with me during the time when I was searching for a home and made the move, which we'll get into in a minute. But the reason for this video is I just want to take a few minutes and share with you a little bit about Alan's life. And most importantly, kind of his journey and what brought him to real estate. You know, so many of us know a real estate agent and they can show us homes and they can look at the houses that we're directing them to look at on Zillow or Trulia or Berkshire Hathaway's website or whatever it is. But so oftentimes we don't even know the backstory behind those people to really qualify them to see if they're people that you would be interested in actually sitting down and having dinner with or having lunch with, and what really makes them tick. And so today I just wanted to take a few minutes and introduce Alan Zeller and just ask him a few questions kind of about his journey, with the whole goal of just bringing light to how important it is to know who the professional is that you're picking when you're looking to make one of the largest investments in your life, whether it's buying a home or selling a home, and how quickly and important it is to build that level of trust. So Alan, first, thanks for being here. I appreciate your time today. I know you're busy. As a matter of fact, we had to push this today due to the fact that you just put another house under contract, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet, man, you bet. But Alan, talk a little about your journey, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of talk about how you and I got connected. We were at an industry event, gosh, a couple of years ago, and you and I were hanging out a little bit, and we ended up going to dinner that night through a mutual friend of ours. And gosh, we just kind of became instant friends, really. And I just really appreciated and respected you. I love that back a couple, 2-3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago? 2 years ago, probably.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, you'd shared that you were just getting in the industry. You'd just gotten in the industry within the last year. Is that right?
Yep.
And so during that time, obviously it left an impression on me. During that time, I wasn't looking to move out of Washington State or sell or do anything. And as my job kept increasing and I was doing more and more, I needed to find a great place to live with a great airport. And lo and behold, I picked Las Vegas, and I didn't even interview realtors. As you know, I called you first and just said, Alan, I know that you haven't been in the business a long time at this point. This is a little bit ago, and I'd love to give you a shot. And I just kind of laid it out. I think I remember I said, look, I'm not guaranteeing I'm buying a house.
Right.
I don't even know if I'm moving, and I don't want to waste your time because there's a good chance we won't move or do anything. And you said, you know what, man? It doesn't matter. I'm happy to show you homes. No guilt, no stress, no anything. And that was so rewarding to me to say, man, this guy's the real deal. And I know he's going to take time out of his life where he could be making money with somebody else just for a chance that I might buy a house. And obviously that meant a lot to me, and we've become very close friends since then. So I greatly appreciate you for doing that. And I just want everybody to know how quickly a professional can build a relationship just by serving. But the most interesting piece, Alan, tell us about your journey. You've got a really interesting past, and I'm not going to go into all. I'll let you touch on it. But tell us about the journey and how you ended up and why you ended up in real estate, if you don't mind.
Well, is it interesting? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you. I used to train for the founder of Remax Realty for 18 years. And Dave Liniger had me travel around. I showed his horses for him. We bred some of the #1 Arabians in the U.S. for 18 years, and I had a blast doing it. And it was a lot of fun. We also sold a lot of those horses, and then I would sell them to amateurs, and then those amateurs would ride them, show them, compete against them, and then I continued the process with them, teach them how to ride that horse. And it was a neat process, and it kind of correlates to the whole real estate thing, because you get a relationship with somebody, and you have to hold their hand sometimes through that transaction. Same thing with riding a horse. You have to build a relationship with this person, learn how this person rides, what they need to do better, and meet deadlines. The same thing as real estate. You have to have a horse ready for a show by a certain date, and it needs to be blossoming at that show. You can't do it before. If that horse blossoms before that show, then it's going to peter out during the show.
Mm-hmm.
So same kind of structure. So I did that for 18 years. Was very successful at it. Had a blast doing it. And then towards the end, I guess it would be like the last probably 3 months that I was there, I got bucked off. And I hated to get bucked off. It just happened when you did that job, you got bucked off sometimes. But then when you're done with a job mentally, and then I got bucked off, and I thought, you know what, I don't need to be doing this anymore. This is just someplace I don't want to be. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of travel. I didn't like the travel behind it. So I picked myself up, dusted myself off, grabbed the horse, got back on, sold that particular horse, mumbled a lot and grumbled a lot at the end, but got that done, and then had the conversation with my boss. And at that time, about a year or two before that, I had met our CEO, Gordon Miles. So we had become friends. I knew he was very successful at what he did and ran a great brokerage. And I wasn't so familiar with the branding itself at that point, but I started looking into it. I started talking to him about it, and I knew I was in a long distance relationship. So I was going back and forth at that time from Vegas to Michigan. So that was getting old too, along with myself. So we ended up talked to Gordon about it, and he says, you got to come check our brokerage out, check out our branding, check out our, what Berkshire Hathaway, could do for you. So I did, and he was the one that basically got me into this, and I'm so grateful that he did. I kind of fell into it, to be honest with you. The company itself is huge. It's got a big, powerful name behind it, and I was unfamiliar with it at that point, but it's an amazing company to work for, amazing people. He and Mark, they're amazing guys, and everybody at their office, in all offices here at Berkshire Hathaway. They've been great people to work with.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I guess I didn't realize you actually worked with Lineker back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
Dave Lineker.
So you knew the Remax brand well.
He was my main boss for 18 years.
Wow. So you knew Remax well, and you chose to come with Berkshire Hathaway. That right there says a lot, by the way.
It does.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But now you left out a couple of really interesting pieces, and I love sharing this because you're an extremely humble person, Alan, and that's what makes you such a great realtor. So I'm gonna sell a couple of these pieces as well. First off, one of your employers was, Olivia Newton-John. You did work with her horses, and
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And I know the most recent, but was there anybody in between there that I don't even know about, Alan?
Well, she actually put me in touch. She was the one that actually put me in touch with Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but Don Kashane, if you haven't.
Yeah.
And
I've seen him before, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So she put me in touch with him and her manager. So
that's cool.
Met him, and then actually when I first moved out here to Vegas, I worked with Wayne's horses and managed Casa de Shenandoah for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it
was cool, very cool. Well, and what I love is you got bucked off the horse, but you got right back on, which is pretty cool.
Same thing in the Astros. If something happens, you got to get right back on that Astro.
You read my mind right there. You read my mind. But well, obviously, Alan, there were a lot of options out there. Did you look at any of your options before choosing Berkshire Hathaway?
I looked at a very few, but really when it came down to it, I looked at Gordon. I knew his drive and what he represented. And those are the people that I try to strive to be like. And you realize how successful he is and how committed he is. So that's the kind of company you want to be with. And I checked out a couple, but nothing compared to Berkshire Hathaway. And
I'll say this, as someone that travels over many of the states in what I do, it's very interesting to look at all the different models that are out there. And living now in Las Vegas for the last year, I've met a lot of different brokerage owners here as well. And in my humble opinion, they don't hold a candle to what Mark Stark and Gordon Miles does with this Berkshire Hathaway brand. And the brand is a massive part of it, obviously. They're great business operators too. And so it's kind of very symbiotic relationship,
Right.
and it's
Work well.
fun to work with. It's fun to work in for sure.
Yeah.
Alan, if you were going to give a new agent like yourself, if you were to give someone like you advice as to how to quickly succeed in this industry, just kind of come over, put your arm around them and say, this is what I would do to succeed quickly. What would 1 or 2 points be?
Pick up your phone. Answer your phone all the time. Yeah. I think that's really important for any agent, new or old. Be available. And be available not only to the other agent but to your client. If your client calls you at 9 o'clock, sometimes you got to pick up the phone at 9 o'clock and talk to them. It's in most cases it's one of the most expensive deals these clients are going to go through financially. So it's scary. It'd be scary for me. And it has been scary for me. So you need to be there for your clients. So I think that would be the main thing. And, if you don't know an answer, find it out immediately. And that's where Berkshire Hathaway really helped me. Carlos is our sales manager, Capia, and he's been awesome. If I got a quick question, I can text him and he's right on it, so that it just goes to show that having people that back you up can really help you out. So I think that would be the main thing, pick up your phone, have communication with these people. One thing is, another good thing is like constant communication. Like if you haven't touched base with your client in a day or two, send them a warm welcome video. Troy, you taught me about that. You're really good. You're the master at these videos. So I've been trying to incorporate that in my business and use that and send out a quick video and touch base with the client. Here's where we're at. This is the next step. Whatever questions you have, and make it short and simple. But I think that's huge.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll tell you, this is for people watching. The interaction that I had with Alan, he did exactly what he just said. The 2 points. At the time, maybe he was a little bit newer agent, and the cool thing is I knew that going in, and so perhaps my expectations were a bit lower, but I'll tell you that you also exceeded my expectations, and you acted like a seasoned pro through the entire time. If there was something you didn't know, you were humble enough to say, man, I don't know, I haven't experienced that yet, but let me find out for you. And within, most of the time within minutes, sometimes within a couple of hours, I'd have that information. I mean, a day, not even a full day would go by and you would have that information back to me, or you would at least let me know where it's at in the channel where you're trying to get the information. And that didn't happen often. You pretty much had all the answers all the time, but I was so impressed by that. And I was so impressed at the fact that you did pick up your phone 100% of the time. I would say now you're so darn busy with everything you're doing, you pick up your phone less, but that's great. There's a quick text that says, hey, call you in a few. Awesome. Right. I know you're busy, and that's fantastic. There's at least interaction. It's not just going to voicemail. There's at least an acknowledgement that I see you called and I will get back to you, and you always do. I mean, that was the best part of the experience that we had. I used a Berkshire Hathaway agent to sell my home in Washington State, and then obviously I used one to buy my home down here. And both situations were very similar. I'm proud to say that. As an organization and as a brand, I would say they're very similar. First-class customer service on both sides. I had a very seasoned agent back in Washington State when I sold my home. So just know that you're doing everything all the seasoned guys were doing back then. So
appreciate it.
No, it's great to see. And I think that's stellar advice. That's the biggest thing that we see as the franchisor a lot of times is just that. Your great agents have incredible communication skills. They've got systems in place and processes in place, and they do answer their phone continually.
Professionalism.
Yeah. What are your next steps, I guess, is my next question. How big of a company do you want to build, Alan? I mean, are you happy being an individual agent? Would you build a team someday? What are your aspirations from 1 to 2 years from now?
For right now, I'm very happy being independent.
Cool.
I think controlling my own schedule is really important. I do have a TC that's amazing. She pushes the paperwork. But as far as being maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, depending on how things go, maybe starting with another couple agents, coming on board, I think might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Depending on, I think, but then you get, personalities, I don't know. They'd have to be the right fit, right? Everybody has to fit together to make it work good.
Yeah. And the only reason why I ask, I just see how busy you're getting now. I know how many homes you're selling now, and you're doing incredible marketing on social media. So you're all over the place, which is great. And again, systems and processes you have in place to do that as well, but and still being extremely accessible, which is awesome too. Well, Alan, let me ask you this, and this is not a loaded question, but I'm excited to hear the response. What can the brand do better? Not necessarily your brokerage, but what can the brand do better to support you and all your endeavors and your successes?
I don't really, the brand itself is so powerful. Like, we'll get calls, of course, Keller Williams, we'll get a couple, these other, Coldwell, but I have gotten floor calls of people that just want to be with Berkshire Hathaway. That's it. They just want a Berkshire Hathaway agent. So, and that's off floor time. So I think that's really important. And I think it's powerful. I think people are out there, they see that brand and they're like, wow, I want to work with one of those agents. As far as what they could do better, I don't know. I really don't, I see, we're taking in other businesses, other realtors. Wasn't Tarbell one that we just took over? I think it's great, trying to expand. I think that's it, expanding. And that's what you guys are doing.
That's our job, our job is to expand with the right people and the right companies.
Right.
That's our job. We're not looking to put up an office just to put up an office, but we will put up an office if it's the right group, for sure.
Right. Quality people, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Well, looking back, Alan, probably the three plus years, maybe almost 4 years that you've been in this now, any regrets?
None. We all make mistakes as we go, and that's how we learn. But I'm sure I've made a few, and I'm sure I'll make a few more. But bottom line is there's no regrets. You work hard every day. You go out there. Sometimes it's a grind. Sometimes it's fun. I've met some amazing clients like yourself. And you become close with these people. It's an exciting experience for them, especially if they're buying and moving in. It's exciting for them. They're coming to Las Vegas. It's sunny all the time, as you know.
Yeah.
So if you're like me, you moved from Michigan where you barely saw the sun, and here it's like we're right next to the sun. So
sitting on the sun. Yeah.
Right. So I think meeting people has been one of the best parts of this job, meeting people, and everybody's got a different story. And I love hearing everybody else's different stories that they have. That's brought them to where they're at in life. So no regrets, just a lot of fun along the way. I try to have fun with clients and keep them happy, and it's a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, just a brief recap, Alan, on your story. I mean, coming from working with, celebrities and high, I guess you would say, luxury clients in the horse industry. Horse industry, is that what you say? Horse industry, equestrian.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. In the horse industry, obviously with some incredible training to getting into the real estate industry. It's probably, very similar. Big personalities a lot of times, a lot of emotion, some drama for sure. But it was an incredible springboard. I mean, 18 years of that, what a great springboard into what you're doing today. And obviously you're extremely successful in everything that you're doing today as well. So, man, I appreciate you taking the time, Alan. And just so glad to know you. So glad that our paths crossed, and we got to do business together, a while back. But you're an incredible human being, and just grateful to be on the same team as you, my friend. So thank you.
Well, more fun to come. So
yes, sir.
It's been great. I appreciate you and meeting the family. So let's do dinner soon sometime.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take